So therefore now, whatever he got the chance later, he will teach this meditation again and again. That's why we have many discourses, the Pali Canon, where he teaches this method. He refers to it many times, and he teaches in a very methodical way. And we're going to see today how he teaches it. It is very simple, where it is on the empirical level. And we are going to explain this. But before that, we're going to see what the Buddha says about the mind and how the mind needs samadhi. He calls this concentration samadhi. So therefore now, because this concentration develops samadhi, unification of the mind, one-pointedness of the mind, so it is very helpful for many people. So therefore now he also tells about the mind. This flickering, unsteady mind, difficult to guard, difficult to tame. The wise person strengthens it as a fletcher strengthens an arrow. So this is actually what we should do, strengthen our mind. As a fletcher strengthens an arrow. Because our mind is jumping from object to object, is scattered everywhere, and it is good to strengthen it. So therefore now, and he also tells, the Buddha also tells, a tamed mind brings happiness. So once one concentrates the mind, as called, the mind gets unified, happiness arises. This is a kind of spiritual happiness which comes from inside us, and it is not a material happiness. So now we know that our mind is fragmented. So it is scattered everywhere with different informations. So, and that leads to also many disappointments we have in life and frustrations. So, but a concentration of the mind helps to unify the mind. So this brings oneness of the mind, or what is called one-pointedness of the mind, which the Buddha calls it cittase ekagata. So therefore now Anapanasati, as called this mindfulness of breathing, has this aim to bring oneness of the mind. So, and to bring the mind in one single point by concentrating, unifying it. So in his discourses, the Buddha speaks about the sitting position, how one starts to sit down and to develop this kind of meditation, because sitting position is very important. He says, sitting down, folding the legs crosswise, and setting the body erect. So for those who understand Pali, this is the Pali text from the canonical book. So here, one very important feature of this posture, it is to set the body erect. As in this picture, we can see that the body is erect. Folding the legs crosswise, that is actually the usual posture we see the Buddha. So he was a yogi himself. We can tell him the highest yogi who appeared, because he did not attend on jhanas, but he practiced Vipassana meditation for his enlightenment. So therefore now that was the usual way how to sit down in India, and he used this posture for his enlightenment. So therefore now, but some people who have this kind of difficulty, they can use other postures. I will show you later. Now this posture or position is called full lotus position, but there is another position called half lotus position. Here you can see that one heel is on the thigh, but the other is beneath that. So that is one way for those who have difficulties to put both heels on the thighs. So another way it is called Burmese, where both heels are on the ground and a little bit far from the body. So that is also another comfortable position. So, but we can see also the spine is erect. One can use the cushion, so half of the cushion, but here you can see also the spine is erect. And to strengthen your back is very important. And the palms or the hands can be in a relaxed manner. in this way, or in this way, or in this way. So because what we do with the hands is just to leave them on the body so that we don't feel the weight of them. That is because after concentrating on the breath, slowly the perception of the body disappears and only the breath remains. Therefore now some mudras or some what people do, like these mudras or hand positions, can become unnecessary. You can use them if you like, no problem. But after some time, if concentration increases, so ultimately one loses the perception of the body, and one has this tightness which has to be put with mudras become loose. Therefore now in Theravada Buddhism, at least in this kind of meditation, it is not necessary to use this kind of positions, these symbolic positions, as called hand position. So it is up to you, but I'm telling you, it is, if the mind gets concentrated, ultimately these positions have no meaning. Another posture which is not suitable is this one. So then, but there are also other suitable positions, like to sit on the stool, on a seiza, like a cushion, or on a chair. So even in these positions, you can see that the spine is erect. That is the most, it's called the main feature one should have during meditation, because this enables the breath to be smooth. So if the spine is bending forwards or backwards, this will be difficult to observe the breath. So now regarding the mindfulness of breathing, what the Buddha teaches, he teaches in this context as a serenity meditation called samatha meditation. So that is to calm down the mind. It's called to tranquilize the mind. And he also explains the place of observing the breath. So he is very particular to explain this because many people get confused where to observe the breath. So, and he says establishing mindfulness at parimukha. This is the word he uses, and it means around or near the face or mouth. Pari means around, mukha means face or mouth. So, but it's around it or near the face. So this is the Pali word, the Pali words he uses. And but what means parimukha in a more specific way? There is another canonical book. I will mention this. This is the passage from this book, which says, this mindfulness is established while established at the nose tip. That is parimukha. This is called nose tip. It's called, and or at the mark of the mouth. Mark of the mouth, according to the commentaries, means the upper lip. This is the areas of which mostly people feel the breath. So naturally, if we breathe, even if you sit down, you can actually understand that you breathe from the nose. That is the natural way how humans breathe, from the nose. Except they are very tired, they have to take deep breaths through the mouth, or people who have asthma and so forth, some other discomforts, they might use the mouth to breathe, but naturally, we breathe from the nose. Therefore, it is either on the top of the nose or the tip, one can feel the breath, or on the upper lip. The reason is that some people who have short nose, they can feel it on the upper lip. But people who have normal nose, they can feel it on the nose tip, what's called, where the breath enters through the nostrils. So therefore now the Buddha did not specify exactly the very, very exact point. And because people, they can feel the breath on the upper lip or on the nose tip. If he tells on the nose, people who have short nose, they might not able to feel the breath. But if he tells Parimokha, he keeps leaving more space so that people who have even short nose, they can feel the breath around the face or on the upper lip. So therefore now there are actually two places here for those who have short nose and those who have normal nose. And this same book says, this canonical book, this is called Vibhanga Pali. Hence, it is said establishing mindfulness and parimokha. So therefore, this comes from Vibhanga Pali. This is the canonical book, which is called Jhāna Vibhanga. Those who can check the reference, they can see it. So, and there is another canonical book which says, in this way, he sits down by establishing mindfulness at the nose tip or at the mark of the mouth, which is the upper lip. This is called Patisamita Magga in Anapanasati Kata. So now this same book also says he does not give attention to the in-breaths coming inside the body or to the out-breaths going outside the body. So therefore now, if one establishes mindfulness at the tip of the nose, so around this area, one does not give attention to the breaths which go inside the body, to the chest, onto the belly, but stays at the parimokha, around the nose or around the around the face. So, and then does not give also attention to the breaths which go outside the body. So then, because if one follows the inhaling air inside the body as it travels in different bodily parts, one would then be practicing elements meditation, which is called Dhatu Manasikara, in regard to the air element, Vayu Dhatu, but not mindfulness of breathing. You must know that there is another meditation called elements meditation, which one has to observe the Vayu Dhatu, the air element. So that is different kind of meditation. Even so, by meditating on the air element only, one doesn't even practice elements meditation fully, because it is required to meditate on the other three elements, solid, liquid, heat element as well, and to see their correlation. Therefore, it can't be said that one either practice mindfulness of breathing correctly or elements meditation correctly. So in this way, it's called only to observe the wind element all over the body. It is not enough in elements meditation. One should understand the other three elements also. So in the school, hence the Buddha advises in regard to mindfulness of breathing, let your mindfulness of breathing be well established in one's person at parimokha. He says here parimokha, as we explained. When mindfulness of breathing is well established in one's person at parimokha, any inclinations for outward and vexing thoughts cease to exist. Now the Buddha uses the verb establish, which indicates the placing and fixing one's mindfulness at parimokha, implying thus of not moving it hither and thither or onwards and backwards to any other place. The opposite of establish is disestablish, displace, change, move, remove, etc., which is not the case in Anapanasati Samadhi. Therefore, the Buddha calls this Anapana Samadhi, because one has to get Samadhi, concentration, one pointedness of the mind, and it is not suitable to move one's attention from this area which is called parimokha. Therefore, you establish your mindfulness at the tip of your nose where the air strikes the nostrils, or at the upper lip, wherever you feel the breath, if you feel the breath on the upper lip. So, and you should observe the natural flow of your in-breath and out-breath at the nostrils or at the upper lip. So here it is the in-breath, you observe it on the upper or the nostrils. And the out breath also the same. You can observe it or the nostrils or the upper lip. So because most of the people, they have normal nose, I will use the terms tip of the nose or the nostrils, because I can't repeat again upper lip. So, and therefore now if I miss to mention the upper lip, some people should not take it as a it's called something negligence. It is only that it's called, because this nostrils or nose of the tip is repeated so frequently, I will just stick on that, because it will be confusing for the other people. And next, what you have to do, it is do not give attention to the in-breath going inside the body or to the out-breath going outside the body. So that is the first step. Now, we have explained about the place of observing the breath. That is very important. And then the Buddha goes to explain the first step, how to practice this mindfulness. If one establishes one's mindfulness, as called in the Parimokha. Here's the first step. Then the Buddha says, ever mindful one breathes in, ever mindful one breathes out. Therefore now, by every mind, he has called for the in-breath and for the out-breath. One should be mindful. So this is the Pali text for those who understand Pali. So therefore, you also ever mindful breath in and ever mindful breath out. Do so for about 5 minutes in the beginning. So therefore now for in-breath, you mentally note in-breath. For the out-breath, you mentally note out-breath. So these are important words we have to use. This mental noting is very important, because as called, you become mindful. Otherwise, the mind does not know what to do. We have to use these words, in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath, whenever you feel the breath at the nose tip. So then, these words have to do with empirical experience, how you experience. You don't need to visualize anything or to fantasize anything or to use any other words which are completely irrelevant with the breath. We use here words which are immediately, as called directly, as called relevant to the breath. So, and another advice is, do not use your eyes to pay attention to the breath, because you have to close your eyes and feel the breath. You have to concentrate on the sensation. Therefore, we say here, pay attention to the sensation at the tip of your nose or to the movement of the air. So if you open your eyes or close your eyes, you can't see anything, anyway. So it is only the air which enters through the nostrils and exits. So there is nothing there to see. There is no color, no shape. So some people, they strain their eyes to see something. But instead of that, they should pay attention to the sensation. Because when the air strikes at the tip of the nose, one can feel the breath. That is a sensation. Concentrate on the sensation. And sensation have no colors, have no shapes. So just feel it. Try to feel the breath and be with it. Or if you can't understand the sensation, at least understand the movement of the air, which moves in and out. So this movement is which one should concentrate. So when thoughts or feelings distract you, ignore them. So come back to the sensation of your breath. So, and mentally note in breath, out breath. That is the words we have to use to be familiar with the breath. If you don't use these words, usually the mind does not know what it has to watch. In the beginning, we have to use these words in order to remind the mind what it has to watch. So later on, if the mind becomes familiar with it, you can skip these words. because the mind has been already trained to see. So then, in order to get momentum, it is good to use these words, in breath, out breath, and go to the sensation of the breath or to the movement of the breath. So that is the first step, what the Buddha explains. So the second step is, as the Buddha says, when one breathes in long, one understands I breathe in long. So that is long in breath. And then one breathes out long, one understands I breathe out long. That is long out breath. So this is the Pali text for those who know Pali. So therefore now, when you breathe in long, you may understand I breathe in long. That means long in breath, you mentally note long in breath. So when you breathe out long, understand I breathe out long. So therefore, long out breath, you mentally note long out breath. What means long? It means long time duration. So because it's called out breath, now in the first step, we just grossly say in breath, out breath. So, but in the second step, we try to see more details. How long time does this in breath last and how long this out breath? So it is short time or long time. So if it is, if we understand that it lasts some time, so you tell it long in breath or long out breath. But it is, if it is just touching your nostrils, you just feel it. That is very short time. That is short breath. Therefore, this Buddha says, when one breathes in short, one understands I breathe in short. That is, one just slightly understands the breath. It is very short time understands the breath. That is short. So, and that is short in breath. So when one breathes out short, one understands I breathe out short. Means, excuse me, this is short out breath. This is printing, this type of mistake here. It is short out breath. Here it is the Pali text, those who understand Pali. Therefore now, when you breathe in short, you may understand I breathe in short. You may mentally note short in breath. So, and then when you breathe out short, understand I breathe out short. You mentally note short out breath. Short in breath, short out breath. In the beginning, we just mentioned in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. Now in the second step, because we want to see more details, so we just see how long time this breath lasts. Now it's called, if it is long, we tell long in breath, long out breath. If it is short, we tell short in breath, short out breath. So not both together, because the breath can't be the same time long and short. So you just identify, try to recognize how long lasts. So therefore now short means short time duration. In this way, you can do this for 2-3 minutes. Now, the first step, we can do it for 5 minutes, just to understand the in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. After 5 minutes, you do this, whether the breath is long or short, about 2-3 minutes to familiarize yourself how it's called, to see this detail, this type of detail. It is not difficult. So, and then the Buddha tries to see, explains the third step. He says, one trains thus, I shall breathe in, experience the whole breath body. This is the whole, it means the whole in breath. So, and one trains thus, I shall breathe out, experience the whole breath body. So the whole out breath, this is the meaning. So this is the Pali text for those who understand Pali. But here we have to explain one word because some people then misunderstand it. The word is kaya, which means body, and sabba means the whole body. So because some people, they think the whole body means the whole physical body, it means with bones and flesh, which is not the case. And we're going to show how the Buddha gives the definition of this word. What means body in this case, what means also whole body. Now, and here it is now, we're going to show the meaning of the whole body. But first we have to see what means kaya, the body in this context. The definition of kaya in this context is given by the Buddha thus. I say that this is a certain body, kaya, among the bodies, namely the in-breaths and out-breaths. Therefore now this kaya, the body, is not our physical body with bones and flesh, but it is the in-breaths and out-breaths. So, therefore, Sabba-kā means in this context the whole bodily process of the in-breaths and out-breaths. And kaya is used in a metaphorical sense. It is said so because the meditator at this step begins to lose the perception of the physical body and starts to perceive the whole breath as a body, namely as a bulk or mass of air. So that is true because if one observes again and again the breath, after some time, the breath becomes so prominent, so obvious, and that makes the mind become more concentrated on the breath, and slowly, slowly, it loses the perception of the physical body. Some meditators, they feel that they have no more physical body. The physical body disappeared. They are lifted like in the clouds. And only the breath remains in, coming out, coming in, coming out. Therefore, now they perceive this in-breath and out-breath as a body, as a bulk of mass of air. So that is how the Buddha uses this metaphorical language, but he gives the definition, what means yakaya. As we have seen from this passage, I've shown you before, it means actually the in-breath and out-breath. It's not any other body or physical body. So then, therefore now, you also in the third step, try to experience the whole in-breath at the tip of your nose. When you you mentally note whole in-breath. Try to see the whole in-breath. So, and try to experience the whole out-breath at the tip of your nose. And you mentally note whole out-breath. So in this case now, we don't use only in-breath, out-breath, or long or short. We try to see the whole breath, in-breath, whole out-breath. So, and this is how it has to be done. Now, this whole breath body has to be observed in the parimukha, which is the touching point. So, now if we feel the breath in the touching point, the nostrils, so whole breath means you can see the beginning, middle, and end of the breath. So in the first step, we just saw it grossly, in breath, out breath, but we did not know exactly when the breath begins, when it ends. So, but now in this third step, we try to see more details. When the breath begins, when it ends. So then we can see the whole breath. If we see only the beginning, we see a part of the breath. If we see only the end, we see part of the breath. If we see only the middle, we see part of the breath. What the Buddha says here, to see the whole breath body, it is to see from the beginning to the end. So, and we can see this in the same touching point. We don't need to pay our attention to any other places, because when the breath touches the nostrils, that is the beginning. When it continues for some time, that is the middle. When it stops touching the nostril, is the end. So the same with in-breath and out-breath. Again, within the out-breath goes outside the nostrils, so it touches the nostrils. This is the beginning. It continues for some time. This is the middle. When it stops touching the nostrils, is the end. Here I will give an example with a violin player. You can see now, if this violin player plays the violin, his eyes are directed to the touching point where the bow this is called, the stick is called the bow, touches the cords. That is where his attention is. He does not give attention to the tips of the bow, on the ends of the bow, where the bow goes up, the tip of the bow which goes up, or the tip of the bow which goes down. But here, in the touching point, when the bow touches the cords. In the same way, the meditator concentrates on the touching point when the breath touches the nostrils, and there he can see the beginning, middle, and end of the in-breath and out-breath. So now we have spoken about the whole breath. Now, for you to understand what means the whole breath, we have to show you what means part of the breath. Now, part of the breath means a meditator can see only the beginning. Maybe he can see the middle, or maybe he can see the end. Maybe he can see beginning and middle. Maybe he can see middle and end. Maybe he can see beginning and end. That is part of the breath. But if he can see beginning, middle, and end, that is the whole breath. So he has not missed a point. So therefore now you can start also seeing the beginning with the beginning of the breath and end of the in-breath. So because some people, they have difficult to see the middle, you try to see the beginning and end of the breath. When the in-breath begins, that is the beginning. When it ends, that is the end. And you can also mentally note beginning, end. So for the in-breath. So, and then you can also start seeing the beginning and end of the out-breath. And mentally note beginning and end of the out-breath. So you can use these two words just for exercise for you to see the whole out-breath, in-breath and out-breath. So that is, some meditators find it easy because to see the whole breath, it is for some people abstract. But if you have 2 points, A and B, A which is the beginning and end which is and B which is the end, you have some reference point. Then you can concentrate better. So in that case now you can use these words, beginning, end for the in-breath and beginning, end for the out-breath. By you doing this several times, then slowly the mind understands what means the whole breath, not part of the breath. So that is a small exercise, you can do it. You use these words, beginning and end. So about some time, then slowly the mind becomes familiar and you can see the whole breath, in-breath and out-breath. So the same way, try to see also beginning, middle, and end of the in-breath, and mentally note beginning, middle, end. So, but you start, as I told you, that is a later stage. For those who are beginners, who are still beginners, they might have difficult to see the middle. But if they go deeper and deeper and so forth, they are able to see the middle also. So, and for the out-breath also, mentally note a beginning, middle, end. Means for the, try to see also the beginning, middle, end of the out-breath. So that is the third step. It's not difficult. It is only that one has to exercise oneself. This is what empirical thing. We don't try to invent something which is not there. To imagine something or to visualize something, we try to experience the breath. That's why the Buddha says the word experiencing. So this is with empirical facts. So, and that is where the concentration can easily build up. So, and then the Buddha tries to explain now the fourth step. The Buddha says, one trains thus, tranquilizing the bodily process of breath, kaya sankara, I shall breathe in. And then again, one trains thus, tranquilizing the bodily process of breath, kaya sankara, I shall breathe out. So this means that even though the process of breath may become tranquil, calm, quiet, serene, and relaxing, one should not stop watching it, but continue paying attention to the in and out breath. One should train and pay attention to the in and out breath. Because some people, after it becomes very calm, they think, oh, how nice, and they stop. And the Buddha tells, no, you just Try, even if it's tranquil and calm, try again to see the in and out breath. Now, one word which the Buddha uses here, we have to explain is this kaya sankara, and we're going to explain the meaning because again, the word kaya comes here, and some people, they confuse it with the physical body. Means they have to relax the physical body, the hands, the shoulders, and so forth, the spine, they have to relax it to tranquilize the shoulders and spine and so forth. That is not the meaning. And we're going to see the definition, which is given in canonical books. The definition of kaya sankara is given in the suttas thus. It says, in-breaths and out-breaths are a bodily process. These states are bodily, are bound up with the body. That is why in-breaths and out-breaths are a bodily process. Therefore, what means kaya? It is in and out breaths. Now, here is the Pali text for those who understand Pali, and the sutta is the Chula Vedala Sutta, who wants to check. So, and then we understand that kaya means here in breaths and out breaths. It's not our shoulders and our spine, our legs and hands. So, and again, there is another canonical book where it says, what is the bodily process? Kaya sankaro. Long in breath, long out breath, short in breath, short out breath are bodily. These states are bound up with the body and are bodily processes. Therefore, from this we can see that kaya means long in breath, long out breath, short in breath, short out breath. All these are, our scholar has to do with the breath. It's not to do with our hands, shoulder, and spine and legs. So, therefore, one should continue watching the natural bodily process of the in and out breath at the parimukha. And even though it may become tranquil, calm, quiet, serene and relaxing. So that is how the Buddha advises. So the first step is just to tell the meditator that one should continue watching the breaths. Even though become tranquil and so forth, one should still don't just relax and stop. One should continue watching the in and out breath. So that is regarding this method, which is about experience, empirical way how to feel the breath, to sense it, to see the movement of the breath. So, and by using simple words, in breath, out breath, in out breath for about 5 minutes. After you go and watch whether it is long or short, you can use the words long in breath, long out breath, or short in breath, short out breath for about 2-3 minutes. And after you go to see the whole breath. So the third step is very important. Now the fourth step, it says you should not stop even if the breath becomes tranquil. But third step is very important. And that step you try to see the beginning and end of the breath in beginning, end of in our breath. So, and slowly, if you want to see also the middle, you can see also the middle. So that is a very simple method. You don't use any so words which are completely irrelevant with what we experience, what we feel. So, but some people who have difficulty with that, so I would describe another method, which is about counting method. So, which is against distracting thoughts and feelings. Because if some, although now in this meditation with empirical method, so we try to ignore any other thoughts. So, but if the mind is restless, now for example, some people have some event happen in their life, so which has disturbed a little bit the mind, and there are distracting thoughts and so forth. They have difficult to feel the breath. They're difficult to watch the movement of the breath. So they can use this counting method to calm down the mind. This is just something like a backup, like something 8 for concentration. So then you can skip this method if you like, but I just mentioned for those people who have this kind of restless mind and they can't concentrate easily to feel the breath and sense it. So this counting method is also very simple. I just mentioned it. You can use it if these distracting thoughts come up. Otherwise, if no distracting thoughts come up, you don't need to use this method. It is just for, if we tell it emergency case. if we can call it like that. So this symbol is, this method is simple. Now, if there are sometimes distracting thoughts or feelings, you may try to the following counting method to focus the mind to the breath. So this counting method, it is one counting method is like that. Now, if you breathe in and breathe out, you mentally note 1. At the end of the out breath, you mentally note 1. So you go and breathe in the natural breath. We don't try to make any unnatural breath, artificial breath. We use the, it's called completely observe the natural breath. Only what we do, it is the counting. If we breathe in, breathe out, it is, we count 1. And then if you breathe in breath, for the in breath, out breath, you mentally note 2. And then in breath, out breath, you mentally note 3. In breath, out breath, you mentally note 4. In breath, out breath, you mentally note 5. You go up to 5 and you start again from 1. This is very simple. So therefore, at the end of the out breath, you put a number. So this is just to repeat in a summary. In breath, out breath, mentally note 1. In breath, out breath, you mentally note 2. In breath, out breath, you mentally note 3. In breath, out breath, you mentally note 4. In breath, out breath, you mentally note 5. So, and then you can start again from 1. If you lose the number, so you can't remember the number, you can start again from 1, no problem. So, but this counting method is helpful in a way to remember that if you miss a number, you can't remember it, that means the mind is gone. Think something else. Then it is difficult to catch it and bring it back. So that is why some people, they find this counting method easy, especially those who are good in arithmetic and mathematics. So they can succeed very easily. So up to 5, it is not difficult to count, I think. So now, and then in summary, this method means in breath, out breath 1, it is the first round. In breath, out breath 2 means the second round. And in breath, out breath 3 means third round. And in breath, out breath 4, it is the fourth round. In breath, out breath 5, it is the fifth round. Very simple. If you miss one round, you go back to the first round. So then try to count the breath in this way till you get tired. So till the mind becomes calm, and then you can return to the first method, which is empirical method, which we have explained, to see especially on the third step, to see the whole breath from the beginning to the end. So then, but if, however, the distracting thoughts and feelings persist and are tough, you may try the following tougher counting method by repeating the same number for the in and out breath. That is again optional. I'm just mentioning it. It is optional if you have some more restless mind than normal. So you can use this method. This is also a very simple method. You don't need to be lost in this counting. Now the second method, counting method, is what you do it is for in breath, you mentally note 1. Out breath, you mentally note 1. So therefore, you repeat the same number for the in breath and out breath. The number you put for the in breath, you put also for the out breath. So if you repeat the number 2 times, it's easy to remember. That's why in this method, we repeat the same number 2 times. So again, in breath, mentally note 2. Out breath, you mentally note 2. Again, in breath, you mentally note 3. Out breath, you mentally note 3. Again, in breath, you mentally note 4. Out breath, you mentally note 4. In breath, you mentally note 5. And then out breath, you mentally note 5. You go up to 5 and return to 1. This is just repeating the same number for the in breath and out breath. The number you put for the in breath, you put also for the out breath. So because you repeat the number 2 times, so it is easy to understand. You don't forget the number easily. That is the second counting method. Here it is just a summary of it. for you to see it in a whole. In breath, middle note 1, out breath, you middle note 2. Again, in breath, you middle note 2, as called out breath, you middle note 2. In breath, you middle note 3, out breath, you middle note 3. In breath, you middle note 4, out breath, you middle note 4. In breath, 5, and out breath, 5. So that is how it does. This is another summary here. In breath 1, out breath 1, that is the first round. In breath out, in breath 2, out breath 2, it is second round. In breath 3, out breath 3, it is third round. In breath 4, out breath 4, it is fourth round. In breath 5, out breath 5, it is fifth round. If you miss a round, you just go again from the first round. So this is just for emergency case. One should not be confused. So that is if the mind is restless while you're meditating, the mind thinks different things, can't feel the breath, can't follow it and so forth. You can use it. This is temporary. You can use it till the mind becomes calm or till you get tired counting and go back to the first method, especially the third step, which is more empirical to see the beginning till beginning, middle, and end of the breath. So therefore now, when the mind comes down, you may return to experience the whole breath. Here, the whole breath means you can see the beginning, middle, and end of the in and out breath. And you middle note beginning, middle, end. So, or if you can see only the beginning and end, that is also quite enough. So that is explanation about mindfulness of breathing meditation. So I just took some time to give these passages because they are misunderstanding what means the body of the breath, what means parimukha, what are the place. So therefore now I have to bring some passages to explain these things. Although it took some time, at least you should have confidence that this practice it is not arbitrary practice, as called it is what the Buddha himself practiced it and the way he explained it. So now we're going to explain now that what are the results of this meditation. If one continues so and the concentration increases, the sign of concentration, samadhi nimitta, may appear. So this is called samadhi nimitta, the sign of concentration. This is kind of light which may appear in the meditator's mind. It is in front of his, which is connected with the breath because of strong concentration. If the concentration, it becomes very strong, this light appears. Now, regarding the word nimitta, some people they have doubts whether this word has been ever used by the Buddha. So we can here just have a look at some references. Nimitta, which the Buddha uses, samadhi nimitta and samatha nimitta. These are the words the Buddha himself uses it. If you look on your nimitta, you might not be able to find it. But if you see the compound, samadhi nimitta and samatha nimitta is very easy to find. And samadhi nimitta, this word occurs about 25 times in the Sutta Pitaka and refers to various samatha and vipassana meditations, depending on the context. And samatha nimitta, this word occurs about 11 times in the Sutta Pitaka and refers to samatha meditation. So therefore now we have one sutta where the Buddha says, there is the sign of serenity meditation. Frequently giving careful attention to it is a nutriment for the enlightenment factor of concentration. So what is the sign of serenity? According to the commentaries, it is a serenity itself as well as its object, who the commentary tells the patibhaka nimitta or counterpart sign. So according to the commentaries, there are three types of nimitta. This is called preparatory sign, which is called parikama nimitta, acquired sign, which is called uggah nimitta, and counterpart sign, which is called patibhaga nimitta. The meanings of nimitta is a sign, a mark, an image, a mental image, a reflex image. So now what is the preparatory sign? This is what the Buddha says, establishing mindfulness at parimukha. Now, if you establish mindfulness at the tip of the nose, for example, this sensation, when the breath strikes the nostrils, this is the preparatory sign. This is indication. This is the sign, the indication that the breath moves in and out. If you can't understand, you don't feel the breath, you can't understand the movement, there is no nimitta there, there is no sign, no indication. Therefore, now the first thing the meditator should do, it is to find this sign, this indication, and it is of the nose, to feel the breath, and also, or to understand the movement of the breath. That is the preparatory sign. Without this sign, one can't start practicing concentration and mindfulness. So, and then the quiet sign, which is called Uggana nimitta, is the still unsteady image which arises when the mind has reached a high degree of concentration. So that is, this light appears, and because of this effect of concentration, due to by seeing the breath again and again, so the mind becomes very calm. This calmness produces a kind of purity of the mind, and slowly, this purity of the mind manifests as a light. And this light becomes comes like a friend to shed more clarity in the meditator's mind in order for him to see the breath more clearly. It comes like a torch so that the meditator can see more details of the breath. Because the purpose of this meditation is to see more details. That's why the Buddha in the first step says to see the breath grossly, and after to see more details, whether it's long or short, and after to go to see more details, the whole breath from the beginning to the end. So the more details one sees, so the better the concentration becomes. And then this light also appears. And that is when the meditator can see even more slight details about the breath. So, and this is the counterpart sign, which is called Patibhaga nimitta. It is an entirely clear and immovable image arising at a much higher degree of concentration. So that is a very powerful light which appears because the concentration has become very strong. So soon after this image arises, the stage of access concentration, which is called Upachara Samadhi, is reached. So that is what the meditator gets very high concentration, which is close to the Jhāna attainment. Now, Jhāna attainment is attainment of the fifth Jhāna. This is full absorption when the mind sinks into this light. Sinks into this light, that is the first Jhāna. It is full absorption into this light. So the bright sign varies depending on the meditator. That means this light varies depending on the meditator. For some, it is a bright light much as the morning star, a bright ruby, a gemstone, or a bright pearl. For others, it is like a moon or a sun. The reason why it varies, it is depending on from which angle the meditator sees it. So now if we have a prisma, for example, and we shed a white light on the prisma, then you can see these rainbow colors coming. So in the same way now, it is from which angle you can see it, you can see different colors. And, so that's why now some meditators have different perceptions. They might see this light in different colors. So they might see like a moon, like a sun, bright sun, like yellow color. They might see like green color or some mix of these colors in the beginning. Later, of course, when the mind becomes very strongly concentrated, then the light becomes transparent and becomes more white. So this light is the product of intense mental concentration. It is just photons that appear in the meditator's mind due to the condensation of electromagnetic waves that exist in our body. So this light does not come from space or from any other source. It is actually due to the photons which are produced in our body when the mind becomes very highly concentrated. It's just a photons which appear, because we have electromagnetic waves in our bodies, and we know in the electromagnetic spectrum, so that because of the condensation of electromagnetic waves, so this happens because of mental concentration. What's called all these electromagnetic waves become condensed so much so that you can see different colors. So that these colors usually come from our electromagnetic waves, which are inside our bodies. They don't come from outside. Here we have, for example, a photograph, which is called Killian photograph, how our body emits electromagnetic waves. The same is called same qualities also have the plants. They have also electromagnetic waves. So that is another photograph here. And what is basically recorded in Kirlian photography are the very natural phenomena in our body, such as pressure, electric grounding, humidity, and temperature. So these are which produces light around our body. Changes in humidity, which sometimes reflect changes in emotions, barometric pressure and electric voltage, among many others, will produce different auras. So now, because some people they misinterpreted this light, I'm going to show how this light is misinterpreted by mystics, etc., by some meditators. So, and how we should not regard it as something supernatural. It's just a natural phenomenon. So some they call it this light the immortal, pure light of infinite consciousness, or the cosmic light, the cosmic consciousness, the cosmic energy, God, God's grace, and the union of man with the divine, enlightenment, the infinite ego, the soul, the spirit, Brahma or his grace, Bodhisattva or his grace. So every person can tell whatever he likes, but if we analyze this light, it's just photons which arise because of these electromagnetic waves, which become so very condensed due to concentration, and this light appears. Now this light appears, as I told you, like a friend which comes to help the meditator to concentrate more. But if the meditator looks at this light disappears. So therefore now, this light, it is a product of concentration. It's not a product from something outside us. So one should not regard it as divine on all this kind of words which some people use regarding it. Especially with Vipassana meditation, if one analyzes this light, one can see that it actually consists of these photons. Now, I explain you this, what are the effects of this meditation. Of course, there are other good effects that one feels very blissful because of the concentration. And these are very, very powerful, happy emotions arise. So that's why one is able to attain the jhanas. With Anapanasati, one can attain up to 4 jhanas. All right, now, up to now, I explained you about the mindfulness meditation because I intend to explain about meditation of metta meditation today. I've explained, I will spend some time explaining this. The reason is that although some people find it easy to concentrate on the breath, but others have difficulty due to the fact that they have very negative emotions. That means they have a very difficult experience in life. So, and they accumulated different negative emotions which makes them to feel uneasy and not able to concentrate on the breath. And metta meditation helps to remove these negative emotions. So therefore, metta meditation can be very helpful to remove this kind of negative emotions, calm down the mind, and then one can see how easy it is to observe the breath. So now we're going to explain how to overcome these negative emotions through metta meditation. Again, it is from the teachings of the Buddha, because he praised metta meditation also a lot. Here are many suttas in the discourse of his, which he in which he explained about how to practice metta meditation. Therefore, we should not regard metta meditation as something less worthy of Anapanasati. Now, before starting, I'm going to explain the meaning of metta. Metta comes from the word mitra, or in Sanskrit, mitra, which means friend. Its real meaning is the disposition of a friend, that is friendliness. So it is a friendly goodwill and wish for the welfare and happiness of all, wishing, may all beings be well and safe, may they be happy. Now, these are the Buddha, these are the words of the Buddha. You can find in Karaniya Sutta, in other suttas and so forth. So, but what is the, how this metta can be achieved? In order to achieve metta, anger has to be abandoned by the development of friendliness of metta. So hence the Buddha says, this is the escape from anger, ill will, hate, vyapada, the liberation of the mind by friendliness. So therefore now, if one wants to escape liberation of anger, hate, and these negative emotions, one should practice the mind of friendliness. Again, the Buddha says, cultivate the meditation of friendliness, for by cultivating the meditation of friendliness, anger disappears. Again, he says, this is the liberation of the mind by friendliness. Frequently keeping attention to it, this is the denourishing of the arising of anger that has not yet arisen, of the increase and strengthening of anger that has already arisen. So one more thing I want to explain, that metta does not mean love, because sometimes metta is translated as love. So the Pali word for love is pema and piya. In Sanskrit is prem and priya, and in Hindi is prem and piya. And to verify that, I just show you here, for those who learn Hindi, how to say love in Hindi. Here are the words piyar and prem. And love implies a strong emotion of affection and attachment, which in turn can bring sorrow and fear if that love is not fulfilled. That's why the Buddha says, from love, pema, piya, springs sorrow, from love springs fear. For him who is wholly free from love, there is no sorrow, whence and fear. The same he says about craving, tanha, the origin of existential suffering, dukkha samudaya, making it to understand that love is a form of craving and attachment. Thus he states, from craving, tanha, springs sorrow, from craving springs fear. For him who is wholly free from craving, there is no sorrow, hence then fear. However, instead of love, he urges his disciples to develop other noble qualities towards oneself and others, which he calls metta, and which literally means friendliness or a friendly disposition, and also karuna, compassion, mudita, sympathetic joy, and upekkha, equanimity. So now we're going to explain metta as a serenity meditation, and what is the purpose of this metta meditation is the escape and mental freedom from animosity, hostility, ill-feeling, antagonism, enmity, malice, resentment, bitterness, antipathy, ill will, anger or hate, fear, sorrow, jealousy, stress, anything we call negative emotions. Therefore, if we have anger in our mind, or hate our mind, fear in our mind, sorrow in our mind, jealousy in our mind, stress in our mind, it is a time to practice metta meditation, because these emotions it's called agitate the mind, and it's difficult to watch the breath. Not only the breath, but they bring a lot of confusion in the mind. So therefore now, if one wants to get rid of these emotions, one should take oneself as an object and wish oneself, may I be without anger. So therefore, with metta meditation, we use an object. We don't just repeat words who have no meaning, or even if they have meaning. So we concentrate on the emotion of anger and try to it's called draw all our attention towards us. We have to take an image of ourselves somehow, the presence of ourselves, and wish may I be without anger. If there is hate in us, we can tell may I be without hate. If there is fear, we can tell may I be without fear. If there is sorrow, we can tell may I be without sorrow. If there is jealousy, we can tell may I be without jealousy. If there is a stress, one can tell may I be without stress. Now, these are the most common emotions which appear in the people's mind. Of course, there are many more. You can also feel, and you can express them with your own language or any synonyms. Now, for example, for anger, there are synonyms. For jealousy, all the different synonyms. You can use your own words to express, to identify what this emotion is in yourself, and draw all attention to your body, because these emotions, sometimes they spread all over the nervous system. Draw all your attention to your body and wish yourself, may I be without this emotion. We don't try to fight this emotion. We just simply withdraw our mind from it by wishing, may I be without it, may I be without, free of it. We don't try to suppress this emotion or to get involved with this emotion. We just see the quality of this emotion, see the danger in it, how it can steal our peace of mind, and we wish, may I be without this emotion. So then, whether it is in the present moment or in the past moment, you remember that if memories are coming to your mind, when some episode happened and you remember how you feel this emotion strongly, you again take yourself as an object and wish yourself, may I be without this emotion. So either in the present moment or in past moments, so we would take yourself as an object and wish yourself, may I be without this emotion. So if this emotion goes away, because this emotion not it is not crystallized in us. If we if we give them a lot of attention, of course they will continue. But if we withdraw our mind, we don't give them the fuel for them to continue. And after some time, they go away. They just disappear because they don't have the fuel for them to continue. It depends from us to withdraw the fuel. Once the fuel is no more there, these emotions, they have no power by themselves. So, and they go away, they disappear, and the mind becomes calm. If the mind becomes calm, then you can go to the next step and arouse positive emotions. So that is the second step with metta meditation. It's called not only to remove the negatives and stagnate. No, you have to go and to the second step and arouse a positive emotion. One very strong positive emotion, what the Buddha recommends, what I told me, it is happiness. Because this is what most people wish when they get up from the bed. I don't know whether you know anybody who wish may I be unhappy today. Most of the people, they wish happiness. That is, and subconsciously they want to have this happiness in life. So, so whether they want it in this mode, the other mode, but somehow they look for happiness. Therefore, one good way to start wishing something positive to oneself, it is to wish, may I be happy. Again, one should draw one's attention to oneself and wish oneself, may I be happy. If memories come, which one remembers that one was happy with friends, with family members and so forth, such memories, if they come, one takes again oneself as an object and wish oneself, may I be happy again, again, again. So either in the present moment or in past moments, in memories, whenever you see yourself, wish yourself, may I be happy. So if these positive emotions are increased, so one feels very light in body and mind. So that is the case, then you can also go and wish other people to be happy. You can wish also, may he, she be happy. You can remember friends. If friends and family members come in your mind, so we wish them to be happy. Whoever comes in your mind, you remember them, you wish them to be happy. So, and you can see that the effect will be like taking a tennis ball and hitting in the ball on the wall. That tennis ball will not stick on the wall, it will return back to you. The same way, if you wish other people to be happy, you also feel so happy. So these happy emotions can generate a very calm mind, very peaceful mind, which is very easy for concentration. So therefore now, this is not just a simple practice to feel just a little happiness, but can also arouse very positive emotions which are very conducive to for concentration and unification of the mind, oneness of the mind. So that is, after these emotions, negative emotions go and you develop these positive emotions, you can return back to the breath and you can see how easy it is to observe the breath. So therefore now, one more thing is, it should be understood that metta meditation is not mere recitation, loud or silent repetition of words. In order to succeed, metta meditation needs an object or image, and in this case, it needs the mental image of beings. As we told, it is a friendly goodwill and wish for the welfare and happiness of all, including oneself, wishing, may all beings be well and safe, may they be happy. So this is just a brief explanation about metta meditation. That is also in emergency case, if these negative emotions come up, so and the mind becomes so agitated, so one is unable to concentrate the mind. So in order to remove them, as called, that is in a way, and also in order to arouse positive emotions, metta, it is one very good mode of meditation in order to as called to get rid of these negative emotions. So I will conclude my explanation today regarding breathing of about meditation of breathing and metta meditation. So we are going to devote about 5 minutes for those who want to ask some question before we're going to practice. So, and these points which somebody wants to ask should be sharp on the practice. Later, of course, after we practice it's called meditation today, so we have time for question and answer, more time for question and answer. So therefore now, up to now, whoever wants to ask some question can raise the hand as we have explained, or put some question in the chat box so that we can spend at least 5 minutes to have some explanation regarding these two kinds of meditations.
Hello, may I speak? I raised the hand.
Yes, you can.
Please, while you were explaining the second part of the first meditation, I have lost my connection. So would you mind just explaining briefly once more the second part? Yes, breathe in, second part, breathe out.
About the breath.
Yes, about the breath, please.
Yes, I would repeat it just before we start. I will explain.
Super, okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Some people, after maybe 5 minutes, they might forget it.
Okay. Thank you.
Start, I will tell these points. So, okay, now I can see there are many questions in the chat box. And some of them we can discuss later on. I will just choose those which are very relevant to the practice, because now many people, they are waiting. They have already the yoga mats, the cushions. They are eager to start meditating. So we have to respect these people. And I will just choose some questions who are very, very important for the practice. I will have to spend only 5 minutes. Later, of course, after we practice meditation, those who want to step back, they can they can ask other question, or I can just reply on this question, which is in the chat box.
Yeah, so I raised my hand, and
yes,
it's not exactly relevant, but I wanted to know if you do further explanations on the whole sutra that you just went through. Yeah, because I tried to read it by myself here, and I was confused about things like what the body meant, etc. So is there a time that you actually go through the whole thing?
Yes, now this explanation actually are very clear explained by the Buddha in suttas. So I give the reference. Now this recording which we did today with its PowerPoint presentation, it will be a recording and will be sent to anybody who wishes it to look at the suttas. The references are there and the page numbers and everything. So I can have a look.
I mean, I'm asking, is there a time that you actually go through the whole thing? Because I know it's a long sutra, but hearing you explain it was much better than me reading it. So I'm wondering if there's times that you actually go through.
To go through them means?
Yeah, you know how you explained like the first part of the sutra?
Yes.
So, and there's more underneath it, I'm wondering, do you have classes which you like explain the rest of the sutta?
Yes. We have classes. I have actually conducted classes in other parts of the world regarding the whole Satipatthana Sutta. And in that sutta, of course, I give a lot of references, and because that is for hours and hours, for days. I conduct for days this class. But here I can't give all these references. I just give the most important ones. And now, of course, I'm not conducting these classes because we're going to have a very limited time. But I conduct these classes in Greek language, not in English.
Yeah.
So we spend more time for the Greek people because I'm in Athens here. And the whole explanation are given in Greek for the time being. Of course, but this explanation which I give today, if the sutta reference are there, one can go at least check oneself and see these explanations. So then any other question you can have, I can ask, reply after we start meditating, after we finish meditating. So, it is a very reliable information what we have, at least this is the Buddha himself. And this is not one sutta, there are several suttas. I did not keep all this information from all suttas.
Okay, thank you. So should I read through like the commentaries? Is that what you're saying?
Commentaries, you can do so also, but the sutta reference are quite enough for one to grasp the whole meaning.
Okay.
Right. We go usually in the commentaries if we don't understand something. That is also useful, of course. But if you look at these suttas regarding the kaya, especially the body, so there are several suttas which the Buddha explains, or his disciples also explain it. So, and then Majjhima Nikaya and Sanyutta Nikaya, I don't know who are familiar with these books. So these suttas are available. I give the references. We can send you the recording of this video. We'll make a video today. So you can go through the slides, or you can send you the PowerPoint presentation in PDF file. You can have it and check the references.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome. So now we give the people 5 minutes to ask questions. So because 5 minutes are more than enough, other people are waiting to start practicing. So any other questions which have to be discussed, we'll discuss them after the practice. And because last time we make the mistake to devote a lot of time for question and answer before we practice, and some people complain. today we want to limit the time. All right, now I would just explain the very basic things that we have to practice. I would repeat very briefly what we have already said. So, and we are going to practice called immediately. A small bell will ring, and we are going to start, and we have to decide also how long time to have to practice. So we make a polling. It's possible to make a polling today? Yes, there is a possibility today. So we decide about the time. Last time we decided about 30 minutes. Today we'll see if there are people are eager to stay longer. You can stay longer. So you can vote how long time you want to meditate.
There is one hand raised from Howway P. Smart.
Okay.
I don't know if there is any question.
Okay, you can.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Hi. I was wondering, how many times should one practice meditating per week or per day?
So it depends on available time. Some people, they are so busy, they can spend at least half an hour a day, maybe 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day. So
Okay.
if one wants to devote longer time, there is no limit. There is no limit. Some people, they practice a whole day for a week.
Yeah.
They go to meditation retreats. They practice about 18 hours a day, 18 hours. So the best hours, of course, are in the morning. And because one already had a good rest during the night. So after so long times of sleeping, one feels fresh in the morning and it's easy to start. There is still some sleepiness. One can drink some fresh juice or some light meal or some like little coffee or little tea and start meditating. So, but one good precondition, precondition is there should be silence in the room one meditates, in the place one meditates, and also one should be energetic, should not be lethargic, not be tired, and not always, not to meditate immediately after meals, because usually people feel sleepy after meals. One should therefore choose times which one feels alert, and also there is no noise around. Okay, now, yes?
Is it better inside or outside someplace?
Yes,
like inside?
Inside or outside. Some people, they prefer in the forest where it is very quiet, where it is nature. That is very nice also. But if that possibility is not there, you can sit inside the room. You can ventilate the room. There should be some fresh air in the room. So, and then after you have to close everything so that no noises can come. If there are noises. Otherwise, you can open the windows or the doors and so forth and meditate in your room.
I think it's better to start, Bante, because the time is passing. And
of course.
Yeah, you can ask more questions afterwards. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have the results. 30 minutes by far, 59%. So I think we should honor the decision of the majority.
So then, okay, the majority is 59%, but we have all the other percents, 10%, 40 minutes, 20%, 45 minutes, and 11%, 60 minutes. Therefore, not to put some justice, I will suggest we meditate 35 minutes. So for other people not to complain, we make it 5 minutes more. So then now, before we start, I will explain you so that you have to keep your spine erect. That is the most important. You can sit on the chair, you can sit on the bed, you can sit on a cushion, you can sit down on the floor with cross-legged as it is comfortable for you. But main thing is you keep your spine erect and try to keep your head in such a way so that the nose is parallel to the ground. The nose, the tip of the nose should not be towards the ceiling or on the ground, should be parallel to the ground. And start bringing your attention to the breath. So before you start observing the breath, I will recommend you throw your attention to the whole body and tell yourself, relax, relax, relax. The reason is because some people, they feel like going to the battlefield now if they start meditating. That is not the reason. As called, we have to relax and you have to remind the mind what it has to do. If you don't remind the mind will think all sorts of things. Try to tell the mind now to relax. So you can throw all the attention to the body and tell yourself, relax, 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 3, 4 times, 3, 4, 5 times. And afterwards, slowly bring your attention to the breath and observe the natural flow of the breath. If you can't feel the breath, you just take 2, 3, 4 deep in breaths and then start observing the natural in and out breath. And try to feel the sensation. If you can't feel the sensation, at least try to understand the movement of the breath in the nostrils. When the breath touches the nostrils, that is an enters, that is the in-breath. When it exits, that is the out-breath. You mentally note in-breath for each in-breath and out-breath for each out-breath. You use words which, as I told you, are completely relevant to what you experience. So you can do this in-breath, out-breath, in-out-breath, use these words for about 5 minutes. Experience the whole breath, experience the in and out breath. And then after 5 minutes, try to see a little bit more details, how long this breath lasts. So if it is long or short, you can use these words, long in breath, long out breath. Or if you feel it short, that means the time is very short, you just feel it. It is short, you can use the words short in breath, short out breath. This is just to see some details of the breath, because in the first step, we just see it grossly. But in the second step, we want to see a little bit more details. After you can do it for 2-3 minutes, just to understand the situation of the breath. So, and then afterwards, you can go observing the whole breath. And I explain you what means the whole breath. Try to see it from the beginning to the end. You can use these words, beginning, end, for each in-breath and out-breath. Beginning means when the breath, the air enters in the in-breath, it touches the nostrils, that is the beginning. When you feel it touching the nostrils, the beginning. When it stops touching the nostril, that is the end. The same point, I was calling the tip of the nose, you can feel the same, the beginning and end. In the same way, when the breath exceeds, you try to see when it starts exceeding, you can feel it. When it touches the nostrils, that is the beginning. When it stops, that is the end. You use the words beginning, end. Beginning, end for the in-breath, beginning, end for the out-breath. You familiarize yourself with that, then slowly, slowly, you can see the whole breath from the beginning to the end. You can also try to see the middle of the breath. If you see the middle, we can also occasionally mentally note middle. So if you can't see either the beginning or end, you go to the first step. You just tell in breath, out breath, just to see in the gross way, and then go and say slowly, slowly, try to see when the beginning and end. That is a practice. Now you use these words initially to get little momentum for the mind to become familiar what it has to watch. Later, of course, you can skip these words, and if the mind becomes calm and by itself can watch the in breath and out breath, you just skip these words. Only you can use them if the mind is wandering. Sometimes you can use these words and bring it back. So therefore now these words are important to direct the mind towards the breath. If the mind becomes calm, you can just skip them and observe the whole breath from the beginning to the end. All right, this is just explanation about the meditation breathing. So about metta meditation, I think it is those who already listen, I think you may remember how if negative emotions come, so very strong emotions come and so forth, you can identify what this is emotion, and you can wish maybe without this emotion, the way I explain it. And then if the emotion goes away, you can also go and wish yourself may be happy. And also if you remember other people, wish them also be happy. So, and if the mind comes down, you can go back to the breath. So, and then I also explained the counting method about the breath. If it is for emergency case, for those who have restless mind, that doesn't mean everybody should use this method, counting method. If you see that your mind is restless, you can count the breath by the way I explain it. In breath, out breath, you put 1, in breath, out breath 2, in breath, out 3, and so forth, go up to 5, and then return to 1. If you if you miss a number, you just go back to 1. That's one method. The other method I told you, if the mind is quite restless, you can use the other method. Means in breath 1, in breath 2, in breath, in breath 1, out breath 1. So, and then in breath 2, out breath 2, you go up to 5 and return to 1. So this is just you put the same number for the in breath and out breath. So that is somehow, because you repeat 2 times the number, it is easy to follow. You don't remember the numbers. If after the mind becomes calm, you just return to the first method I told you, which is more empirical. Try to see the beginning and end of the breath. So these words and the numbers have to be used for just to calm down the mind. You can skip them if the mind already becomes calm. You can skip the words and numbers. All right, now we're going to begin. And after the meditation, of course, you can ask any questions. There are already many questions on the chat box. So, all right, now the bell is going to ring. And I want to mention for those who have the volume in the devices very high, you can please reduce the volume, because sometimes the bell may be annoying if it becomes very loud. So you can check your volume in your device. It should not be very loud. So then, all right, you are going to meditate about 35 minutes. Wish you a good progress in your meditation. So then already 35 minutes passed. For some people, there might be very short time. For those who are beginners, maybe it was long time. So, but we have to understand that this session is to just to learn technique, and you can use this method whenever you have free time, and try to prolong the practice and the time of this. It's called whenever you have available time. So then you only get results. Now, because we're meditating at 35 minutes, that does not mean that you get some results. So, but you can practice on your own, and you can see whether it is you can progress or not. Now, regarding the meditation here, what we do, usually we start explaining with a PowerPoint presentation every time we start the class. Those who have already seen the PowerPoint presentation, so they might be somehow, again, to see it again, it becomes a little bit time waste for them because they already know it. Therefore, we decided for tomorrow, we're going also to practice Vipassana meditation, and we have to present PowerPoint presentation. So we announce that those who already have seen the PowerPoint presentation, that means the detailed explanations, they can skip it and they can enter 1 hour later. 1 hour later, we have the session. I will open at the same time as today. But those who already seen the PowerPoint presentation, the detailed explanation, they can enter 1 hour later. And then we start immediately meditation class. And those who have not seen it, they can enter in the usual time as today. And they can watch it, and after we can practice together. So then something similar we're going to do also next week. The same time will be like today. We start the same time, leaving the people to enter Zoom at the same time. And those who already have seen the explanations, the PowerPoint presentation, all this detailed explanation, they can enter 1 hour later. And that is the time when we're studying meditation. All right. That is one decision we made, because some people, they've seen it several times, and maybe it is somehow time consuming for them to see it again. Now, regarding any question you have, if you had any difficulties with this meditation, you can also raise your hand and ask questions. We already have some question in the chat box. And because these people asked these questions before we started, so then we give priority to these people. And I'm going to explain some things which to give the answers of these questions. Of course, now if you have some urgent question, of course, you can raise your hand, no problem. And I explain you how to do so. If you go in the Zoom screen with your arrow down or with your finger down the screen, so you can see some small icons like a microphone, a video, or like a chat and so forth, and also reactions. In the end, there is a small face which says reactions. And that if you click there, there is a hand, a palm. If you click on that, we will know that you want to ask a question. Another way it is to just to go to the chat box and type something for us to see if you have a question. And as a last resort, you can raise your physical hand, and we know that you want to ask some question. So then I will start.
Jackie Turner has a question. She raised the hand.
Okay.
Hello? Is Jackie Turner listening?
Yes.
Do you have a question?
No, I was just wondering how it all works. I was playing around with it, sorry.
That's okay.
Hi there. Yes, I raised my hand. I have a question. Do we hear each other? I don't hear anything. Yeah, now it works. I'm a beginner in meditating, and I just wondered, I wanted to ask you about the surrounding sounds. How do you because it's distracting, the surrounding, like the sounds around you. Yeah. How do you perceive them normally during the meditation? Do you accept them? Do you try to ignore them?
So yes, that is a difficulty which many meditators encounter. Sounds, as the Buddha tells, like thorns in the ear. So then the meditators have the same problem. A quiet environment, silent environment is the most ideal one. Of course, many people, they have difficult to get such environment. So then one way it is actually if you use earplugs, that is also a possibility. Another way it is those who practice Vipassana meditation, they can overcome it much easier. With Vipassana meditation, we just take the sound as an object and just try to see, call it sound, sound, sound. So whatever sound it is, whether pleasant, unpleasant, we call it sound, sound, sound. And then try to see how it stays, and then how it falls. Because if you observe the sound, you can see that it rises, stays, and falls. To see the impermanent nature of the sound. So by looking at it again, how it is fragmented. Now we see the sound is like a gross thing in a gross manner. No? So, but if we practice Vipassana, we see that it's just fragments of small, small sounds, waves of sounds. And we see how this rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. There is nothing permanent in them. That is why one becomes disinterested, and then one sees the sound like impermanent, the permanent nature of the sound, and one can actually don't be affected by it. So that is one way how to overcome Vipassana meditation. We teach this method tomorrow and every Friday. If you can participate, you can also listen how the method is, not only in sound, but in any other objects. So, but during Anapanasati, it will be difficult because one wants to concentrate on a single object. And in that case, one should take precautions to sit in a place where there are no disturbances. And shut the doors, shut the windows, and try to prevent any external sound, at least as much as possible. If it is not possible, all sounds, to prevent as much as possible. That will be very conducive for concentration.
Thank you very much.
Bante, in the cities, best time I think is 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, now
so much sound.
Yes, it is in the very early morning. There are also quiet hours before people getting up and going to work. There are less sounds. So therefore now some meditators, they prefer to get up about 4 o'clock in the morning where everybody sleeps, so they can start meditating. Of course, to do so, one can have to sleep earlier. So around 10 o'clock, if one sleeps, then it's easy to get up at 4 o'clock. Even 9 o'clock, if you like, if you want to have to sleep 7 hours, you have to sleep around 9 o'clock at night and get up early morning. But this is a very healthy way. Even doctors recommend that it is good to sleep earlier and get up earlier. So it is a healthy lifestyle. So then, and 4 o'clock in the morning, there are no disturbances. At least there are many less disturbances at any other time. And it is one will be sure there will be no noises. But at other times, after the people get up around 7 o'clock or maybe even earlier, the traffic outside the roads and motorcycles going up and down, and maybe there are many disturbances. So therefore now, early in the morning, if you have a good environment around, will be somehow a safe way how to start your meditation.
Actually, I would like to add, and this is a fact, the CEO of Disney wakes up 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think he meditates. He's doing gym and other exercises, and he's at his office around 7. So it's not impossible.
So
Mega wants to ask a question, Bante. Mega Hussein.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, this is Mega. I have a question. I joined like just 10 minutes before it ended today. So first thing I wanted to know what all you went through in today's session, what meditation we were doing today. And second, what exactly the time is like for tomorrow, what time should we join in?
So today it was regarding mindfulness of breathing meditation, Anapanasati, and metta meditation. So that was the instruction I gave. And before even we started, I gave also a brief explanation how to do so. So tomorrow we're going to practice Vipassana meditation at the same time. For those who are new, they can enter in the regular time, like today. Those who already attended the previous classes and they've already know the explanations, they can enter 1 hour later. So, and the time, that is the time when we start meditating. So, but if you are new yourself, you can enter the regular time like today, that is Central European time. We keep it the Central European time. In your email, probably you get the times. So that is the same times like tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going also to present PowerPoint presentation because people, they find it easy to have a visual understanding also how the method is.
Okay. So did you start at 6:45 today?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'll join you tomorrow. Thank you.
You're welcome. So if there are no more hands, are there more hands?
I don't see anything.
Okay, now I'm going to start with questions in the chat box. So Laura has asked the question, I've been practicing meditation for 2 years, a constant and daily practice, Anapanasati and Metta, but I have not experienced Nimitta. I am now interested in learning Vipassana. When it is appropriate to start the practice now or wait for my concentration to increase more? So then you can try Vipassana. I don't know whether you have tried Vipassana school. You have joined the course, the session of Vipassana last Friday. If you have not, tomorrow we're going to teach Vipassana. You can learn it and you can also try and see if it is convenient for you to practice Vipassana. So some people find it easy. So because the mind is already somehow calm, they can practice easily. Some people who have, they want to practice concentration, it is suitable for today. But there is another method which one can combine the two methods. Means let's say in the morning one practices samatha meditation, concentration meditation, in the evening one practices Vipassana. So, or sometimes if the mind is restless, one can practice samatha meditation and then one can practice Vipassana. So you can combine both practices and see what is more convenient for you. So therefore, and that you have not seen Nimitta for so long time, it means that I don't know the method you use to practice Anapanasati, because some people, they they don't progress. They don't try to see more details on the breath. They just see only in the gross way. For example, in breath, out breath, in out breath. And they don't try to see more details to deepen the concentration. And there is a point when they stagnate. If they stagnate, there is no way that concentration increases. If the concentration does not increase, there is no way that this light, this nimitta will appear. So therefore now, the method we have taught today, as the Buddha has taught it, it is just to go from the gross to the more details. To see more details, so that the mind can focus more deeply on the breath and increase the concentration. If you try this, try and see so how your concentration increases. In meditation, the same. Many people, metta for them is just recitation, to recite some things, some verses, and so forth. It's about recitation more than meditation. And I explained that metta needs an object. We have to use an object to concentrate upon, either to us ourselves and to concentrate about ourselves and support our presence, or any episodes we have experienced in the past, to take ourselves as a center of attention and concentrate about oneself and the emotion. Then only one can succeed to concentrate. Or to take other people as an object, as an image, one has the image of other people in one's own mind, friends, relatives, whoever comes in our mind, and concentrate upon them, wishing them to be happy or to be without hatred or like that, something called whatever one wants to wish them. So the metta has to have also an object, an image, in order to succeed. Only recitation it won't work. Recitation might give some soothing effect in the mind, but it can't increase the concentration to the high degree. Chris asked the question, did you meet Mahasi Sayadaw? No, I never met Mahasi Sayadaw because he passed away I think in 1982. That is when I arrived in these countries. I did not meet him, but I know about what he is teaching. I read a lot of what he is teaching. So those days, for some time, I also practiced Mahasi method. So, and I'm familiar with Mahasi Sayadaw. So therefore, I did not meet him, of course, but I know disciples of his. Marco asked the question, I still cannot get the middle part of the breath. Can you try to explain it again? So now, in the beginning, you try to understand the beginning and end of the breath. So, because if you understand when the breath starts, that's the beginning, and then when it stops, that is the end. So, because we have 2 points, 2 reference points. Let's say A and B. You know, the A is the beginning, the B is the end. And slowly, you can see that this breath, it does not stop immediately. There is some duration. This duration between beginning and end is the middle. So therefore now, in that case, you can call it middle. If you can't perceive the middle, of course, you don't not middle because you can't perceive it. But once you get the perception of beginning and end, slowly you can see that between the beginning and the end, there is also a time gap. Before the breath stops, there is a time gap. That is the duration. We will call it middle. That is the middle of the breath. This can be observed, as I told you, in the tip of the nose. When the breath strikes the nose, it's called, that is the beginning. When it continues striking the nose, that is the middle. when it stops striking the nose, that is the end. The same way when the breath exits, so it strikes the nose, that is the beginning. When it continues striking the nose, that is the middle. When it stops, that is the end. So there is a from Chris one, but I don't know whether it is a question or a statement. So whether I understand it correctly, I don't know, because it says it's a time in meditation where the respiration stops and becomes more rare, maybe a few per minute. The question is what we note this long time. Right. Okay, there is no question mark, but I think this is a question. So now, usually when the breath sometimes stops, the breath does not stop. Usually in the beginning, the breath does not stop. If the Nimitta does not appear, this light does not appear, and the breath occasionally stops by itself, that means it is the mindfulness which is absent. The mindfulness is not strong, not so strong enough to understand that the breath exists. So in that case, now the meditator has to establish his mindfulness again and again, the tip of the nose, and observe the breath. So the breath does not stop, except if one goes under the water. So that is, but if you meditate, you are not under the water. What is lacking, what has stopped it is the mindfulness. We try to bring mindfulness again to remember the touching point, the sensation, and try to bring the breath. But in reality, there is a moment when the breath really stops for sometimes, maybe for 15 seconds or 30 seconds, it really stops. That is the time when one has acquired this Patipaga Nimitta, the counterpart sign, when the light becomes so powerful, it covers all the face. So what happens in that moment, that man becomes so tranquil, so calm, and the body does not need oxygen. Because the body does not need oxygen, the meditator feels that the breath has stopped maybe for 15 seconds or 30 seconds. So in order for him not to interrupt his concentration, he can put all his attention to the light and wait till the breath returns. So when the breath returns, he again starts watching the breath. But if the breath is no more there, maybe for 15 seconds or 30 seconds, he again looks to the light. So and focuses his mind on the light, so that his concentration does not get dispersed. So when the breath returns, he can go back to the breath. In this way, if the in-breath is no more there, he looks to the light. If the in-breath returns, he goes to the breath. If the out-breath is not there, he looks to the light. If the out-breath returns, he goes to the out-breath. So back and forth to the breath, to the light, so his concentration can increase, does not become less, does not get reduced. This is how we draw our attention temporarily to the light till the breath returns. So Jacob asked the question, I once learned from a Zen monk similar method up to 10. Is this too long? Now, counting up to 10 is mentioned in the Theravada books, and I think now Zen Buddhism borrows some elements from Theravada. The first reference about counting, it is in Visuddhimagga. It is very ancient books. Before even Zen appeared, this book existed. And I think some Zen teachers, they might got it from there, from Theravada and so forth. And this is mentioned as called in Visuddhimagga. This is the path of purification. It is a meditation manual in Theravada Buddhism. It's very famous. So, and it says one can count up to 10. Means the minimum is 5, the maximum is 10. I'm just teaching the minimum because many people, they get lost with numbers if they go up to 10. I just teach you the minimum 5 for you to be not to get lost with numbers. So therefore now you can go up to 10 if you like. If you are good in mathematics, in arithmetic, you can go up to 10. So then, but main thing is, as I told you, we don't just stick to the counting only, not counting, because in some methods they use only counting method, they don't teach anything else. Now, with this method, the Buddha taught, and the way I explained you, counting is just to calm down the restless mind. After the mind becomes calm, one has to return to the empirical method, which the Buddha taught, and to see the whole breath from the beginning to the end, to see more details. Because counting method, you can see the breath in a gross way. You can't see many details. So ultimately you start remembering the numbers rather than the breath. So therefore now we have to, after the mind becomes calm, you can skip the counting method and return to see the details of the beginning, middle, and end of the breath, which can increase your concentration further in order to get this nimitta. And then it is when the light will appear. So Maria Gonzalez asked the question, do you do this presentation every Thursday, Friday, or do you teach something different each time? For the time being, we decided only to teach samatha meditation. It's called mindfulness of breathing meditation, metta meditation on Thursday, and Vipassana on Friday. And we're not going to teach something different for the time being. We have not yet decided to teach something different. So maybe in the future. But those who already are familiar, already attended to these classes, and they have seen the presentation, as I already told you, they can skip it. They can enter in the Zoom 1 hour later. So that is the time when we start practicing meditation. Even before we start practicing meditation, maybe 5 minutes before, I explain briefly, it's called how one should practice it. Therefore, they who also come late, it's called 1 hour later, they can hear the brief explanation instead of hearing the full-fledged explanation. So therefore now it is up to you. The Zoom time will be the same. So everybody can enter anytime, but those who already have watched the classes and they want only the brief explanation, they can enter 1 hour later, and that is the time when you can also start meditating. So Maria asks again question. So I guess if I'm a beginner, I better attend just on Thursdays, right? Yeah, you can attend on Thursdays if you want to practice samatha meditation, but you can also attend on Fridays, because some people, they find it easy to practice Vipassana meditation. It depends on you. So you can try. It is not something compulsory that you should start only on Thursday, not on Friday. So Jacob asked the question, what do you mean by light? Is it common to all meditators or is it a metaphor? So we have many testimonies from many meditators, means heart practitioners, to tell like that, heart practitioners, not like who meditate 5-10 minutes a day, that who practice regularly, how this light, they can appear in front of them, they can see it, they can describe it very well. So, and this light is actually a sign, it is like a signboard to tell light for them to understand that they have reached a certain high degree of concentration. So it is not imagination, it comes by itself. And as I told you, it is a product of concentration. If we see it from the physics, from the science of physics, it is this, as I told you, photons, because when the mind becomes very condensed, have condensed concentration, it can produce these electromagnetic waves in our body, and this can be appear in front of the nose of the meditator, which help them to see more details of the breath. It is like having a torch in front of oneself, one can see more details. But if one looks to this light disappears because the concentration drops. If the concentration becomes weak, this light also disappears. So therefore, one has to continue with concentrating on the breath rather than pay attention to this light. In the beginning, it is still not very steady light. So then, therefore, we know from experience that this light is a product of concentration, is not a metaphor. It comes to meditators and facilitates them to see in a very bright way the breath. The breath becomes very, very obvious. One can stay for hours watching the breath without any disturbance. The physical body disappears. One does not feel that he has any body anymore. Which means this the gray, as called this. So therefore, only the breath remains, but one can see so much details due to this light. So this light comes like a friend to help you. And for your meditation, it's like going in a dark room and suddenly you have light. You can see everything in the dark room. So if this light appears, the same way this light brings brightness to the mind of meditator, and you can see the breath so clearly, so crystal clear. Even small details of the breath become very obvious. Jolanda asked the question, is repeating something that you can master it? Now, if we repeat the words I told you, in breath, out breath, we don't try to master the words, we try to master the experience of the breath, to feel the breath and to know the breath. So this repetition, of course, it is mastering this technique, and of course, which leads to concentration. That are the effects. So by repeating it again and again, repeating by putting your attention again to the breath, this is how we can attain concentration. Rahel asked the question, do you need to be feeling the difficult feeling at the time of the meditation when wishing yourself to be free of it? Do you need to be feeling the difficult feeling at the time of meditation? So now during the Anapanasati meditation, as I already mentioned, we try to ignore any distracting thoughts and feelings. So, and try to concentrate on the breath as much as possible. After a degree of concentration is achieved, slowly, slowly the perception of the body also disappears and does not feel the body. Any feelings also do not become perceptible. Therefore now, we don't wish, may I be free from this feeling during this kind of meditation, samatha meditation. So except if we practice metta meditation, is different. We wish not about sensation in the body, but any other negative emotions to be free from. So, but during Vipassana meditation, one can take the feeling as an object and try to understand its impermanent nature by watching its rise and fall. So that is a different practice. This practice we do it on Fridays. So if you like to join and learn how to observe these feelings through the Vipassana practice, that will be probably useful for you. So Iris asked the question, you have talked about steps in both types of meditation. What is the time frame of each step roughly? So as I told you now, in the steps of Anapanasati, you can practice the first step about 5 minutes to be familiar with in breath and out breath. After you go to the second step, which is to see whether it's long or short, that's called about 2-3 minutes. And after you can go with the third step as much as you like. So if you can't watch the third step, you just go to the first step. It's not a problem. And try to, again, go to the third step and see more details. Actually, the practice is to go from the gross to more details. So by adding more information, how the breath is, whether it's long or short, and then to see the beginning and end of the breath. So regarding metta meditation, of course, there is no time. It depends on how long the emotion stays. If the emotion of anger and hate stays long, so you can go ahead and repeat again, may I be free from this emotion. So Regina asked the question, Regina, I would like to know if we can see the light only in metta meditation or also in Vipassana, and if not, why not? So this light appears in all kinds of meditations if the mind becomes, achieves a high degree of concentration. So with metta meditation, the same. So if the mind achieves concentration, especially if we wish other people to be happy, and we concentrate on other people, in the image of other people, then the mind slowly becomes concentrated. The more concentrated it becomes, the more some brightness starts coming in the mind due to this concentration. So in this brightness can increase. The more the brightness increases, the more people we can see. The more the mind becomes more broad, and we can remember more people. Now, if you go, for example, on the road, we can see some group of people on the bus stand, on the railway station, maybe in the metro, sometimes in the beach, in the airport. So if the meditator closes his eyes, the mind is becomes so bright, he can see these people like a picture in front of him. So because of this light. But this, in the beginning, of course, if this light is not present, if one closes the eyes, everything is dark. One tries to recollect some people and the picture goes very fast away. It does not stay. It is very faint picture. But once the concentration increases with metta meditation, the mind becomes so bright, one can see these people like in front of oneself, like a picture, like surrounded by so powerful light. This very light, it is the product of concentration. That is how one can see more people. Wherever one remembers people and so forth, groups of people, one can see them. One expand this, his, what's called metta feelings, what's called friendly feelings to many, many more people. So that is where this light also appears in metta meditation. And then with metta meditation, one can attain up to 3 jhanas. Now with Anapanasati, one can attain 4 jhanas because of this light. So, and then metta meditation attains up to three jhanas because of this light. So therefore now in Vipassana also, this light appears because in Vipassana the concentration appears where one sees the rise and fall of every object, because that is constant. Wherever one sees an object, one can see rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. Because of this repeated phenomenon, the mind concentrates upon it. So that is where the concentration increase, and that produces light. And one can see more details about the object one observes. Whether they are thoughts or feelings or any bodily processes, one can see this so clearly because the mind becomes so bright. So this is called the obhasa, which is in Pali language, which is occurs during Vipassana meditation. And this light sometimes can mislead some meditators to think, oh, I become enlightened. This is why some meditators starting wondering, why? Did I become a Sotapanna or Sakadagami? Did I see Nibbana? This is when actually it is a trap. It's a trap. Not only in Vipassana, in Samatha also is a trap. This light can be misleading. That's why I show in this PowerPoint presentation certain misinterpretations regarding this light. If one does not analyze this light, this can be misleading. So therefore, during Vipassana meditation, one should take this light as an object and analyze it and see it with Vipassana eye, not try to enjoy it. Because many meditators, they try to enjoy this light. How wonderful, how beautiful. So, and they get lost in this kind of emotional part of this light. They forget to see that this light is also impermanent. That is also like produce, I call it, just to see how it rises and falls. So therefore now, but to cut the whole story short, it is that without light, with this light, there is no jhana. And with this brightness of the mind, which produced even through the Vipassana meditation, the meditation can't proceed because one has not the facility to see more object. One has the brightness of the mind is no more there. That means one can't see very clearly what one watches. This brightness of the mind, which occurs through concentration, so it is which enables one to see more details. That is a good sign. That is also called Nimitta, that one can progress very easily. So Marie asked the question, is it positive if you lose the sense of time passing during the meditation? For example, half an hour looks like 5 minutes. One can see, yes, one can see that is a positive sign because that means the mind becomes very occupied. It becomes very interesting for the mind to see this. It was a very nice experience. Therefore, the time passes very quickly. We know that if we have difficulty something, we are in stress, we want to finish something to finish very quickly. So the time, we feel the time pressure. But if we are in very pleasant mood, the time passes very fast. We don't feel the pressure of time. So that is why during meditation, some people, they don't feel the pressure of time. And after they wake, they think, why? I thought 5 minutes passed, but already 30 minutes, 45 minutes passed. There are some meditators, they meditate up to 3 hours, and they think 10 minutes passed. They get up, they can't believe it because the experience was so wonderful, there was no pressure of time. So therefore, no, this is a positive thing. But from the other side, there is a negative thing, especially if one falls asleep. If one falls asleep, also one thinks maybe 5 minutes passed, while even 30 minutes passed. So therefore, we must distinguish between whether the mind becomes concentrated. That's why we lost the perception of mind, the pressure of, we lost the pressure of time because of deep concentration, or was it because of sleep? So we must make distinction between the two. So Vivek Virma asked the question, how many times at least should I meditate in a week? So it is up to you. There is no time limit for meditation. There are meditators, they meditate up to 18 hours a day. For 1 month, 2 months, they have no problem. So that means they spend only little time for sleep. The rest of the time they meditate. So then it depends on you and your available time. You can start, it's called, don't force yourself. This is what I will advise you. Don't force yourself. You start with easy steps. For example, you can start maybe with 20 minutes. You can slowly increase to 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So, and then slowly for the body to become familiar, because some people, they feel pains. If they push the body too much, they feel pain in the body. The muscles in the body are not familiar to sit in such position. Don't force yourself. Try also to see how the body reacts. So then after 20 minutes, especially for beginners, they feel some discomfort in the body. Don't try to force yourself. You can do some exercise if you like to make the muscles more relaxed. Some stretching exercise are good if you want to sit longer. But you must know that for beginners, there is a limit. But you can increase the time from 20 minutes to 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. You can slowly increase the time up to 1 hour. If you have more time, you can increase 1.5 hours, but do it gradually. So then, and then slowly you can do it 2 times a day or 3 times a day or 4 times a day, depending on your available time. And the time should be, as called, not after meals. Don't try to meditate after meals because most of the people feel sleepy. Or don't try to meditate when you are tired because you might feel asleep. Try to meditate when you are energetic, you are alert, and also try to meditate the times when there is no noise around. So try to find an environment when there is no noise. Rahel asked the question, is the purpose of meditation just to calm the mind to enable us to practice the mindfulness meditation? Or does it serve another purpose? So according to Theravada tradition, it serves many purposes. Actually, it is sometimes it is spread so much, it is an all-purpose meditation. Because the Buddha praises meditation a lot. One can start even before Anapanasati practice meditation to feel very positive, to arouse very positive emotions. And then one can practice also, it's a regular practice, especially those who have these negative emotions very easily coming in the mind. It is good to have this as a regular practice. And the Buddha says, even if one walks, sits or lies down, one can practice this meditation. Because these negative emotions can arise anytime in our minds. So it is good to have it a regular practice. And especially if one wants to arouse a very positive emotions so that negative emotions can overpower one's mind, one can do it as a regular practice and wish oneself to be happy. And especially if one starts wishing other people to be happy, that can become very interesting, especially people who are very social people. It is very good means to have an object all the time for them because they associate with so many people. And they find it very easy to take other people as an image and concentrate upon them and attain concentration. So therefore now, some people, they prefer this meditation more than Anapanasati, because they feel that the mind becomes very easily concentrated. And therefore, it serves many purposes. It is good to practice this kind of meditation. Of course, it is not good for everybody, especially for those who are very lustful people. They have a lot of lust. So for them, of course, metta meditation is not good, because this can be arouse a lot of, if they take the image of other people in the mind, this can arouse also lust. For them, another meditation is suitable. It is 32 parts of the body to see the loathsomeness, the repulsiveness of this body, because most of the people, they arouse lust on the body of other people. So if they practice metta meditation, they have the bodies of other people in front of them, they may arouse lust. So for them is 32 parts of the body, or Asubha meditation is called. Meditation, repulsiveness of the body, it is suitable for them in order to overcome the lust. Once they overcome the lust, the mind becomes very calm and concentrated. But as long as the lust is there, they are not able to concentrate the mind. So therefore, now metta meditation is suitable for them who really need it, who really want to overcome these negative emotions, arouse very positive emotions towards others, with a pure mind, not with a defiled mind of lust. So that is, they can succeed because the mind becomes pure. If they see other people, they really feel this pure happiness arouse them by wishing to be happy. But this pure happiness can be defiled if one arouses lust. So therefore now, if that is the case, one should practice 32 parts of the body or Asubha meditation. So Amy asked the question, how can I feel the concern to all beings when practice? May all beings be happy. I feel it is possible for me to wish for real persons who I love, I don't love, or I feel neutral, which normally I have a clear image and feeling about them. So now in Karaniya Metta Sutta, the Buddha says this phrase that one should wish, may all beings be happy. But then he says, what are these beings? He is more concrete to say what are the beings. He puts the beings in the 14 categories. One category it is seeing beings, beings who you have seen. Another category it is Sandike. Sandike means those who are near to you. Therefore, you start with beings who you have seen, beings who are near to you. So you start with these categories. So therefore, you can't start with telling may all beings be happy, because it's very abstract. It's impossible for you to use abstract terms if you don't, because it is difficult to grasp what are these beings. That's called. But if you follow this advice of the Buddha, seeing beings or near beings who are near to you, you start with these categories of beings. Beings who have seen, this is called Ditta. Ditta means seen beings. What are the beings you have seen? All the relatives, people you have, relatives you have with you in your house, or children, husband, wife, friends, father, mother, or any other beings you have, you meet every day, maybe on the road, maybe on the office. If you close your eyes and these people come in your mind, take these beings and start with these beings, which are very prominent, very obvious in your mind, and wish them to be happy, be happy, be happy. So then you can see how you can succeed. It means beings who are near to you. Every day you associate with them. This makes sense. Then how you can start. So it is something is a concrete object, and mind needs concrete objects. If you give the mind concrete object, it's very easy to concentrate. Like the breath is very concrete object. So in this way now, beings should be, as called, is a very concrete object. When you have seen them, they are close to you, you associate with them, you are living with them, you have spoken with them, you have as called shared emotions with them. So therefore, these are the beings we have to start with. But with metta meditation, as I told you, first you have to see if there are negative emotions. First, you have to get rid of these negative emotions, because you can't wish yourself may be happy or other people to be happy if you suffer from negative emotions. If you are already very stressful, you feel anger and hate or jealousy, all these emotions, negative emotions, which can actually drain your mind. You have to get rid of these emotions first, and after one become calm, you are able to wish yourself may be happy. Then the mind will accept it. But while you are in anger and tell your mind to be happy, is no way. Your mind will react, because it will say, will tell you, you are suffering from anger. How you can wish yourself to be happy? So therefore now you have to get rid of these emotions, negative emotions first. When the mind becomes calm, then it is logical to start wishing yourself to be happy. You can see this very effective. And you wish other people to be happy, then you can see that it makes sense, because you have to give them, you can give them happiness because you feel happy. Then you can share your happiness with others. Simona asked the question. So on Vipassana, I just feel the sensation of breathing. Now in Vipassana, of course, we do it in different way. In the Vipassana, we teach tomorrow, and I will teach you how to observe the breath in Vipassana. It's not only to feel the breath, but we have to go a little bit deeper to see its impermanent nature by observing the rise and fall of the breath. During samatha meditation, of course, we have to feel the sensation of the breath and try to see the in-breath and out-breath. And when I tell sensation, actually we don't try to see whether the sensation is pleasant or not. It is only a point which we have to turn in order to observe the breath, because the sensation gives us the information whether the breath enters or exits, the inhalation or exhalation. So therefore, it is the sensation which helps us to identify the breath, the movement of the breath. Therefore, we try to sense the breath, or if we can't feel the breath, at least try to understand the movement of the breath in and out. So that is what we do in samatha meditation, as we have taught today. Tomorrow we are going to see how we can practice in Vipassana. So Asha asked the question, I meditate about 1.5 hours per day for 1 month, and I start to have pain to one leg and one knee. I use the Burman position, that means Burmese position. I'm wondering if it is dangerous to continue or if it is a body's way to diminish my motivation. So now with this pain in the legs, it is somehow common for people, and there is a way how to overcome them. So you can do some small stretching exercises, and that is one way how to do so, because many people who are not familiar to sit so long in a cross-legged position. If you use this cross-legged position in Burmese position, you usually try to sit cross-legged. And in that case, now you can do some exercises before you start. I will tell you a small exercise. So you try to, while you're sitting cross-legged, you try to bend your body into the front till you touch your the ground with your forehead. Slowly, slowly you can do like that. And after you can raise your body again and bend it backwards till you can. So, and then you turn it again straight and go right, bend it right to the right as much as you can, and then towards the left as much as you can. And repeat this again, forwards till you touch the ground with your forehead, backwards till you can. It's called put it straight, and then bend it towards the right till you can, and towards the left. You can repeat this 4 times. You can see how the joints, they open more and more and will be more comfortable for you to sit. So, and try to keep the knees not too tight if you sit in the cross-leg position, and try to put a cushion under your knee. So not only, you can try to sit on a cushion while you're sitting, but also put a cushion under your knee which you think is paining, or you can put 2 cushions on both knees. So that is to support the knees. So that is one way how to overcome this pain. And if it is still some difficulties there, you can go close to the wall as much as you can. You can touch the wall with your spine, or you can, any other vertical surface, you can touch this vertical surface, your spine, and put a small pillow on the lower part of your spine. And this can support the spine, and the spine becomes very erect. You can see also sit comfortable without even the weight of the spine troubling you. That is some tips which you can follow in order to overcome this leg pain and on the knees. By doing this small exercise as much as possible whenever before you start meditating. Regina asked the question, I have difficult to maintain the mindfulness on the tip of the nose. A part of the breath goes into the nose, and after a while, the throat becomes a little dry. What shall I do? So you have to give more attention to the out breath, because some people, they try to inhale. So they forget to put in attention to the out breath. Try to give emphasis to the out breath. So not only to the in breath. So if you give emphasis to the out breath, then it will be a balance between in breath and out breath. So try to see when the in breath stops, and try to immediately to catch the out breath when it goes out, and give emphasis to the out breath. So that's why in this way you can balance the in breath and out breath. So this is one way how to overcome this problem. And then because more, if you allow the in breath going to always you keep attention to the in breath, slowly, it can irritate the throat. This is common thing. You are not the first one. I've heard also other people having this problem. But when I tell them to give emphasis to the out breath, then these symptoms disappear. So try to do so, and give more attention to the out breath. Emmy asked the question, when I see the light while meditating, should I focus on seeing the impermanence of the light, or should I keep follow rising, staying, falling of the breath? So now, if you practice samatha meditation, we should just focus on the breath. If this light appears, one should not pay attention to the light at the beginning. One should aim for concentration on the in and out breath. So this concentration can help also for Vipassana meditation, because one can easily progress in Vipassana meditation if the mind is very steady, very unshaken. This is actually what concentration makes the mind to be unshaken. So one is able to focus on an object for a longer time. And this concentration is very helpful in Vipassana meditation, because the time we are going to analyze an object, focusing the mind, concentrating the mind on an object is very helpful. So therefore now in samatha meditation, you don't analyze this light. You don't actually try to look at it. You know it is there, but you don't try to pay attention to it, like focusing on it, analyzing it, and so forth. So try to throw all attention back to the breath and observe the breath. But in Vipassana meditation, when you practice it, if this light appears, of course, one should look at also its impermanence. Because the concentration in Vipassana increases when we see the rise and fall of these objects. So therefore now you can combine both practices. If you practice samatha, you just ignore this light. You don't need to look at it. But if you practice Vipassana, you can see also that this light is impermanent. This knowledge of impermanence of the light also enables one to have not to have wrong views about this light, wrong understanding about this light. From where this light comes, how it appeared to me, maybe some angel sent it to me. So these kind of perceptions are no longer there. These are delusions, so therefore this delusion can dissolve with Vipassana meditation. So you can combine both practices. Whenever you have time, you can practice samatha meditation with Anapanasati, the way we explained today. But whenever you also practice, have time, you can practice Vipassana meditation. Both are helpful. So there are no more questions, I think, in the chat box. Some people, they ask for the PowerPoint presentation. Hopefully, we're going to send this for everybody, because even other times, so after each class, we send you email with the recordings we made each session. Those who want to have a look, they can have a look. So then, of course, the veterans, they do not to look at again. All the who are new, they can also have a look. So therefore now, if you get these emails, don't see them as a disturbance for those who are veterans. It is only those who are new, they can open this the link and have access to the PowerPoint presentation.